I'll be speaking on pharmacotherapy. I am on the Novartis advisory panel. Macular edema is the commonest cause of vision loss in diabetic retinopathy. The standard treatment was laser. As per the ETDRS, it reduced the vision loss by 50% and it required repeated treatment. Systemic factors discussed always have a role. The older theories were that you burn away the avascular areas and you burn the peripheral retina. Then came the laser, the idea of a sub-threshold laser. Burn it, you don't see the scar, it will have an action. And now the concept is it is to VEGF. So anti-VEGF has become an important role today in management of diabetic macular edema. It's been proven beyond doubt that the pathophysiology of macular edema is because of the leakage and increased VEGF levels. So you require anti-VEGF to reduce the leakage. But always remember the systemic factors which cause edema. It's known that patients who have abnormal HbA1c are more prone for diabetic macular edema. Those with hypertension, anemia, CRF, CHF, lipid profile, and if you have a patient with macular edema, the glitazones, the pioglitazones, all should be stopped because they cause fluid retention. Just go back to the background of what the treatment has been for the last 25 years, has been laser. The focal laser or the grid laser was defined based on the FA picture. So first we made a diagnosis of clinical significant macular edema on clinical picture. Based on the FA, the focal laser was done for focal leakage and laid diffuse leakage from the capillary. We did grid laser. And we found over the years that grid laser didn't work as much as the focal lasers did. And basically laser reduced the vision lost by about 50%. And the ones which involved the center, there was an average 2-line only in 30% of the patient. So we need to look at other modalities of treatment which increase the vision or stabilize it much better. So the alternatives came in about 2000 when the steroids came into role, and the anti-VEGF have come in around 2006. So we have about 8 years experience on using anti-VEGF in retinal disorders. One needs to understand that there are limitations to the treatment when we are not looking for cure or a treatment-free schedule. So what our knowledge today is based on 3 trials. The trials for anti-VEGF drugs. There are cumulative trials of DRCR.net, which is a cumulative multi-centered research. It has protocols from A to T, and the protocol I'll be discussing in detail, which tells us which drug is better for and the steroid implants. So the changing trend has been that first we depend on laser, then we said laser plus treatment. Why? Because when you have a thick retina, the laser will not penetrate and cause a reaction at the RP level. So if you have thick retina, more than 300 microns, 50 microns, the laser would not be as effective as if you were to reduce the thickness and then do the laser. So it became laser plus therapy. And today, they found that if you do combined therapy, and if you do delay the laser for about 6 months, the results are even better because you would have a dry retina much more and laser would be more effective. And the latest theory is do laser, if the patient can afford, keep giving anti-VEGF. So we are in the time of changing trends and you have to modulate your treatment according to the patient's financial needs, how fast can you follow up, and the systemic risk factors. So I'll be discussing the laser plus and the pharmacotherapy, and you can make your own protocols for treatment. You need to understand that anti-VEGF works for about 4 to 6 weeks. The steroid, initially Tricort was given at 4 milligram, which caused about a lot of cataract and glaucoma, so the dose has come down to 1 milligram. The laser, if done, it works well for even for 1 to 2 years. So the dosing is a problem of anti-VEGF. Should I give it every month? Should I give 3 loading doses and then based on the thickness of the retina do the treatment? Or I just keep giving monthly treatment till the vision stabilizes. So various studies have used different protocols. Consensus has not been reached. But the cost factor creates the consensus in India. So if the patient can take it, the dosage every month, remember that anti-VEGF will not cause the retina to become flat, the foveal contour to appear. You keep treating till the vision stabilizes for at least 2 to 3 visits over monthly visits. And then you can do a PRN basis if the patient can afford. Or if you feel that the laser can be done, the thickness is less than 300, go ahead and do the laser. We've been discussing the diagnosis of various entities. As I mentioned, the color photographed, you diagnose as clinically significant macular edema. The FA was focal or diffuse. But today, everything depends on the OCT. So they have made the diagnosis as fovea involved of extrafoveal macular edema. And today, you can have macular edema, which you may not be able to observe on the slit lamp biomicroscopy. So it's called subclinical, but possibly seen on OCT. So today, all the trials are based on the fact that patient has a vision loss of 612 or more or less, and if the patient has edema, you treat. But later studies are coming in, with trials are going on, with even with 6 vision with macular edema, do we need to treat with anti-VEGF? As already mentioned, I do OCT in any diabetic who has a vision loss to look for a mild retinal edema. You may have no clinical picture, you may have a CME, a cyst lying in the fovea. So I prefer to do OCT in all diabetics with vision loss who don't have 6 vision to pick up findings. So this will mention the spongy form, the cystoid form, and the subretinal form. So these are the 3 types which you would treat with pharmacotherapy. These are the most resistant. Like for AMD, the patient with PED will take longer injections to resolve. Similarly, those with subretinal fluid will take longer time. And these patients, if FA were done, would be a dry fovea. So the end point is not a complete resolution of the edema. It is stabilization of vision for 3 months, maybe minimal leakage on FA, and rarely will you see a OCT completely resolving. Like an AMD, it does not resolve completely, but you may have a good vision of 6/9. Remember that the 2 drugs from 2000 has been steroid, in 2006 the anti-VEGF. The anti-VEGF have theoretically systemic side effects. We don't use them in patients with recent MI or stroke. But the steroid causes cataract, glaucoma. The advantage is it works for a longer duration and works in patients where anti-VEGF may not work. In PDR, it's generally not used. We have trials going on, but people use it where you can't do a proper laser with a mild vitreous hemorrhage or in pre-op conditions. It may not work in tractional cases because sometimes it tends to increase the traction and cause tractional detachment. So if you're giving a patient of PDR, Avastin or Lucentis, remember the patient can go into a tractional detachment and you should be ready for surgery. So today, the standard treatment is still for macular edema. I'll go into the various trials to make you understand why have we come to such a stage. This is drcr.net, which does a lot of randomized trials, multicentric. The various trials done on macular edema for Lucentis are the DCR, the READ, RESOLVE, and I'll go into a few studies which will be practical implications for you. Now, in laser, we tend to have a very small improvement of vision. 5 letters means 5 letters would mean 1 line. So we found over the period of time that the anti-VEGFs resolve about 1 to 3 lines of improvement occurs. 30% have a 3-line improvement, 50% have a 2-line improvement. So the advantage of treatment, you tell your patient if you got 6/18, say maybe you go to 6/9 on an average on an anti-VEGF. The trials, these are the rise from 2000 anti-VEGF trials went in, but the retinal trials came here in about 2008, and these trials I will be discussing. One is that, as I mentioned, anti-VEGF gives you more than 50% with 6/12 or better vision. Gain of 3 lines in about 30 to 40%. And the various dosage tried is 0.3 is the most commonly used dosage for anti-VEGF levels for Lucentis. So you see that the patient over 3 years tends to gradually improve with laser, and it stabilizes by the 2nd year, and gradually over 1 year the vision keeps improving. So you tell your patient in anti-VEGF treatment, it will take 1 to 2 years. As in laser, it took almost 1 to 2 years to improve. But lasers will be very slow in effectivity, but if combined, it may sometimes be even better. Here are the various studies which have been published. I won't go into details and bore you up. Then there came study after the IVTA came in, and they found that because of the cataract and glaucoma, the vision dropped after 1 year. So they found that the grid sometimes works better than anti-VEGF. But if the patient is pseudophakic, then your steroids may work as well as the anti-VEGF. Now this is a very important chart you need to understand is, the trials seem to be slightly false, but this is the sham or prompt laser. So laser improved in 25%, had a 2-line improvement. 10 letters mean 2 lines. The one with triamcinolone improved dramatically, but fell at the 1 year because of the cataract. The cataract was done, it improved further. So at the end of 2 years, it was quite clear to listen. So if it is pseudophakic eye and the pressure is on the lower side 12-14, then you are safe enough to use a steroid also. But they found that the patient, when the laser was done after 6 months, it worked better because the edema resolved and laser was more effective. So laser done later after the reduction of edema will give you better results. So all are today studies. This is called protocol I of the DRC or .NET, which gives you the right treatment protocol. So the change of visual acuity was best with the deferred laser group. Triamcinolone was less, but this is because of the cataract. So 1 year, but in the pseudophakic, if you found that the steroid gave almost an equal result as the anti-VEGF. So if you have a patient who is pseudophakic and can't afford the anti-VEGF, and you are sure doesn't have a family history of glaucoma and does not have a raise of pressure after one injection, you can repeat it. The mean change of vision of letters can be seen in this chart. So greater 10-line improvement, a 10-letter improvement can be seen in 50% of patients. So I will not go into details, but remember that hypertension, if well controlled below 130, it gives a good result in macular edema. Even antihypertensive reduce the progression by 50%. The lipid-lowering drug should, both statins and fenofibrate for the triglyceride should be given. Not only statins, but fenofibrate for increased triglyceride. The steroid trials have been done, but the one most popular is the Ozodrex, because it has a lesser risk of glaucoma. You know the various anti-VEGF which have been tried. The advantage is there is no tissue destruction like the laser, but the risk is in cumulative over 40 injection would be 1% endophthalmitis. So remember, you have to be very careful while injecting, and the risk of endophthalmitis is real. So a treatment algorithm would be you divide your DME into two: no center involvement, center involvement. If no center, treat according to ETDRS. Do a focal laser. If the center is involved, you can observe if there is no vision loss, 6-12. And if there is DME, you give anti-VEGF. And if you feel that the patient can get laser after 6 months, add the laser. Or you can use steroid instead of the anti-VEGF. So today, laser has been taught in the book still as a standard. But today, pharmacotherapy has become the standard treatment, followed by laser to augment it. So the importance is that in the beginning, majority of us are giving monthly injection until the vision stabilizes for 2 consecutive vision or a 6 normal vision is achieved. The treatment is not as per the OCT or FA, the target is stabilization of vision. If the patient stabilizes 6-12 for 2 months, you stop the treatment. That is the best vision you can give, and then you take that as the baseline vision and re-inject if the vision drops. So decision on treatment will depend on the combination of OCT and visual acuity, a stabilization of vision, and an increase in thickness can be considered as a point for re-injection. So monthly monitoring of the DME will be important, and you need to explain to the patient that DME is not going to go away. If you're looking for resolution, no, it does not resolve. It keeps coming because the systemic factors are due. Now, if you have a patient on dialysis and is borderline indication for transplant, a transplant helps much more than dialysis in reducing the macular edema. So the standard protocol beside the systemic control would be pharmacotherapy and in combination with laser and something. The upcoming studies show that in shorter evaluation, you may have combination of steroids and anti-VEGF coming in and treatment for central involved diabetic with 6-6 vision. So these 2 studies may change our concepts of treatment in the next 1 or 2 years. Thank you very much for the patient listening.